Hi, John. I see you. Thank you, John, for letting me, for inviting me to do this. So it's an honor to be on Jazz Banjo Radio Showcase. So showcase. Well, what I hope to do during this session, I'm at a kind of at a crossroads. Thanks to the pandemic, it's given me a lot of time to practice and try new things and try to go in new directions. So what I hope this to be is kind of a synopsis of where I've been. Hi, Richard. Good to see you. Um, Synopsis of where I've been through my career and where I hope to go. So at the end, toward the end of this hour, I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of what I've been working on for the last couple of years. So anyway, welcome to my show. I hope you enjoy. I hope you stick around. Let all your friends know if you're a member of this group. You can comment and I please comment, make comments, ask me questions. This is for educational benefit also. All right, so I of course grew up in a banjo band, in the Grace Harbor Banjo Band back in the 70s. I started playing when I was 11 years old. My dad was the leader of the group. My sister was also a member. So it was just a matter of time before I got old enough to where I finally showed an interest in the banjo. So Bill Cood, yeah, sorry about the connection. I'm not getting any notification that that my internet is bad. So sorry about that. I hope it improves. Anyway, so I grew up playing what I call Pizza Parlor Revival, the Pizza Parlor sing-along songs that we all know and love, and that the Plectrum banjo is most noted for. So to kind of give tribute to that, I'll play a little medley here that I'm sure you'll know and you can sing along to. So please. Something, baby face. I'm up in heaven when I'm in your fond embrace. I didn't need a shot, but I just fell in love with your pretty baby face. Yeah, very typical of the Pizza Parlor sing-along banjo, and I learned hundreds of sing-along songs as a kid, and still play them today. And but when I graduated high school, I quit banjo for about 10 years. I just stopped playing. I wasn't interesting. Tuning, yes. C is the standard plectrum banjo tuning. C, G, B, D. I'm too lazy to try other tunings, and I see the plectrum the traditional plectrum tuning is kind of an endangered thing. So many of you know my opinions about guitar tuning, so on and so forth. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I'm a plectrum banjoist. I play CGBD tuning only. I do play a little bit of tenor, but I'm not fluent on it. I don't consider myself to be fluent. I can't get in a jam session and just play. Anyway, when I graduated high school, I quit for 10 years and get it out occasionally and play through a couple of the standard tunes and just get bored and put it away. So in the late 80s, I finally got back into it, and I started playing lead banjo with the Salt Lake Banjo Band. No, not tenor. This is a plectrum banjo. I know a lot of people think well, tenor banjo is the 4-string. Well, yes it is, but so is the plectrum. This is a 5-string banjo without the 5th peg. Is basically what it is. It developed around the same time in the early 1910s. I'll get into that in a little bit. Anyway, so when I came back, I started playing lead banjo with the Salt Lake Banjo Club, and hi, Danny. Good to see you from England all the way over. Wow, are your arms tired from swimming across the channel? Anyway, I started playing lead. I was a strong chord melody player, but I was extremely shy and did not like to get up in front of people. And it's still hard for me to get in front of people. It's difficult. So, so we were first on the show at the Boise Circle of Wagons. And so everything's fine when I'm playing with a group. I can play lead, whatever. I can even act silly when I'm playing with a group. And so I thought, okay, we're first. Now I get to sit in the audience and just enjoy, because it had been so many years since I'd been to a banjo show, and there were people on here I'd never heard that I was excited to hear. And to make a long story short, by the end of the concert, I was pissed off with myself, because I knew the only difference between me and those guys on stage was that they had the nerve to do it and I didn't. So I vowed right then and there that I was going to become a solo banjoist. And I knew that I had to develop more than just chord melody, pizza parlor sing-along songs. So, and then that fall, I met Buddy Walker. And I'm convinced that if I hadn't gone through the first experience at the concert, that I might not have really noticed Buddy that much. I might have just been too shy. But as it is, Buddy really opened up my ears, and I started doing other things. So what I've strived to do all my career is to try to find my own voice, and that's been difficult. I'm a very good parrot. I can copy things really easily, but that doesn't make it mine. So anyway, I want to play a couple of tunes that I copied from recordings. Back in the day with a cassette player, you know. So anyway, Perry Bechtel's Dixie Medley, my interpretation of it. Okay, let's see who else is. Oh, no, yet. Oh, thank you, Danny. Perry Bechtel's Dixie Medley. Back when I was in shape for playing that, meaning that I was practicing it 3 hours a day, I got pretty decent at it. It's one of those things you gotta these type of tunes you just have to play a lot and play all the time to keep in shape for it. And the stuff that I've been working on, again, what I'm going to show you at the end of it, is totally opposite of that. I was always looking for music that would cause me to allow me to play single string, to work on single string, single note technique on the plectrum. I had started on tenor, but only played it for a year. By the end of the year, I was playing 12th Street Rag and a lot of stuff like that because my dad did. But then I switched to plectrum because I liked the sound of chord melody. So I've had to work hard at overcoming my chord melody habit and learning to play single string. And it's not easy. It's not easy on the plectrum. So anyway, another thing that I really got into back and then, especially when meeting Buddy, was picking tricks. And he's a superb example of the duo style picking. And I really became enamored with that. And he showed me how to do it. He taught me his version of Liebestrom and another with a Melody of Love, which I heard him play in concert at that time. But anyway, so I've combined them, and I call it the Medley of Love. So this is based on Buddy Wachter's recording of Liebestrom, and I've got to give credit where it's due. I wouldn't be a duo style banjoist today if it wasn't for Buddy. So anyway, Liebestrom and Melody of Love. strum and Melody of Love, my medley of love. Duo style, I know sounds like a magic trick, and it really isn't. All you need is a good tremolo technique, and my tremolo technique in turn has improved dramatically through my practice of the duo style, and I've been playing it for 30 years, well 33 years now, but it was only about 5 years ago I finally discovered another thing about that first stroke that I was doing, this one. That's the hardest of all of them. It sounds simple, especially compared to, that's actually the easiest of all of them. But this one stymied me for a long time and still gives me trouble unless I slow it down and play it as what it is. It's a quintuplet. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a very hard one to control, but by breaking it down into that quintuplet thing, I was able to get it much better when I do practice it. And again, it's not part of the new stuff that I'm working on, so it's kind of out of practice. But I have a whole teaching progression on that, to take you from very basic on up to being able to do that. And it's on my website, the Banjo Snob. Just look up right hand techniques, I think is what I have it under, duo style. So wonderful. And my strumming has improved dramatically because of it, because it exercises these muscles. And you need, playing banjo is a very physical thing. Anyway, so another banjoist I really got into, and more and more over the years, is Harry Reeser. Now Harry is mostly known as a tenor banjoist, of course, but turns out a good percentage of his recordings from the 1920s were actually done on the Plectrum banjo. Now, it kind of got confused because he published them as tenor banjo arrangements, because the tenor was much more popular then than it is now. But a lot of the tunes were actually done on the Plectrum banjo. And I was going to play a little bit of Cat and Dog for you, but that one requires some work. So, but you know the tune. And so I learned that one from the recording again, without knowing that it was Plectrum banjo. At that time, I had no idea that was actually Plectrum banjo. Some more popular ones. Let's see, Frosted Chocolate. I haven't learned that one all the way through. Crazy Joe, Crazy Joe. That's my newest project, is learning that one all the way through. And I try to transcribe them as exactly as he played them, because how he wrote them, how he arranged them and published the sheet music is not how he played them. And that's an important thing to realize. You listen to the recording and follow along the music, and they don't match up. So anyway, so I can't play all the way through Cat and Dog. I tried the other day, and I just don't remember. I don't have time to work it up. But I do have a couple of newer ones that I've gotten more recently worked up, and one of them is Easy Going, and this is another one that was recorded on Plectrum banjo. So anyway, Easy Going, Harry Reeser. Easy Going from Harry Reeser. I had a thought while I was doing that. What was it? Yeah, if you listen to the recordings, you can tell. You can tell in recordings. You know, Cracker Jack and Lollipops. Those are obviously tenor banjo, and Training the Fingers is obviously tenor banjo. And there's a few more. There's a few more that are obviously, but there's some. It's hard to tell. You have to really listen. But then some are obvious, especially if you compare with the sheet music and compare the voicings. It's Plectrum banjo. So I have to give credit where it's due for that. Also, Jürgen Kulus is the one who introduced me to that idea, to the idea that he was actually tenor Plectrum recordings. Is 22 years ago when I stationed in Germany, I met with him and he brought that up, and I hadn't even thought about it. I had learned a lot of them on the tenor banjo from the music, but I'd never realized that it was Plectrum banjo. So I hope to do a lot more with that. There's a good 10, 15 recordings that are actually Plectrum, and a lot of his banjo work on his band recordings is actually Plectrum. In fact, I think the majority of his band work was on Plectrum banjo. No wonder all his promo pictures in the 1920s were with him than Plectrum banjo, including his video from 1936 playing Tiger Rag. That's on Plectrum. Anyway, so my whole idea there, I wanted to go beyond chord melody. I was tired of playing chord melody, sing-along, pizza parlor sing-along songs. I went through a phase where I didn't even want to do that at all. Unfortunately, I'm back to, I play with Arizona Banjo Blasters, and I have a lot of fun playing the old sing-along stuff. It's great stuff. So I feel like I've come full circle. Anyway, my search for what I would consider to be a legitimate Plectrum banjo repertoire, that is something that would be in the classical vein, led me to the Clifford Essex Company out of England, and composers, some of the English composers, Emil Grimshaw, Alfred Kamiyer, and Bert Bassett. So I'm going to switch gears entirely here now and play some light classical music for you. I'm going to start with was actually well, by that prolific banjo composer Chopin, his Nocturne in E flat, and this was arranged by Emil Grimshaw. It was very popular to play at the turn of the century, playing this music on this kind of banjo. This is an open back, wood tone ring, no resonator. I'm using a no knot tailpiece because it gives a better sound for this banjo. And this is actually a modern day replica from the Clifford Essex Company in England. So anyway, very different sound. Much more delicate, deeper sound. So, Nocturne in E flat. All right. Now I'm relaxed. It's hard to go from Pizza Parlor directly and Harry Reeser directly to Emil Grimshaw. It's very, very different. So my theory is the more different kinds of music I learn on the banjo, music that was specifically written for the banjo, and that piece wasn't, but there's a lot of very similar things that are, the better banjo player I'll be, and the closer I'll come to my goal of being able to play lots of notes, single string. Thank you, Richard. I get a drink of water. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. I'm not stalling for time, but I'm happy to answer any questions. I love to help. I've been on a path. I like to help others find that path also. So, all right. So one of the English composers, one of my favorite composers, is Bert Bassett, and he wrote a piece that is my absolute favorite thing to play on the banjo. It's called Lazy Rhythm. This is as close as you get to art music on the banjo, in my opinion. Lazy Rhythm. Okay, so yeah, Bert Bass's crazy, lazy rhythm. So I played easygoing and Crazy Joe earlier, so lazy rhythm. The thought occurred to me, reoccurred to me what I meant to say before. This music is still CGBD tuning. It's still the chords we know on the Plectrum banjo. Sometimes only, well, usually only 3-string instead of 4-string. So it taught me that there's a lot more you can do, in the Plectrum banjo than just piece of parlor, sing along chord melody. Nothing wrong with that. I still love that, but I wanted to expand my horizons, and hopefully expand the horizons of the banjo while I'm at it. So I'm going to play one more in the classic vein, and this is one by Emil Grimshaw, an actual arranged by him. It's a medley of Scottish tunes. and it's called Scotch Broth. I only know the name of one of them, and I think you'll know that too. Is Kenny Henderson on here? I don't see him in the list. So anyway, I'm sure somebody will recognize some of the Scottish tunes in here. But this is by Emil Grimshaw, Scotch Broth. Scotch Broth by Emil Grimshaw. So we've got over 70 pieces of music in publication with Clifford Essex, written in standard notation and in tablature. And I highly recommend the classic repertoire for the Plectrum banjo. Is music from the written, a lot of it was written for fingerstyle, bare fingers and gut strings and open back from the turn of the century. And when the Plectrum and tenor banjos became popular in the 1910s, some of the composers started writing arrangements or rearranging their fingerstyle music for the Plectrum. And a lot of it really crosses over well. In fact, let me play a short one by another English composer. He's actually an American who immigrated to Britain at the turn of the century because of the popularity of the banjo. Alfred Kamiyer. He wrote only for. Hi, Larry. Met at NAIBC. Okay, I'm hoping to go this year, so we'll see each other again. Yeah, NAIBC. I believe is mid to late April. Check it out. It's a huge show. It's a wonderful show, and of course it was canceled last year, and actually, see 2021. Yeah, last 2 years has been canceled, so 2022 will be the first year back. So anyway, check it out. Alfred Kamiyer actually wrote for the zither banjo, which is a very even softer, quieter version of the open back 5-string fingerstyle banjo, and but a lot of his music fits wonderfully on the Plectrum banjo because it's just mainly strumming. Anyway, so I'm gonna play a short piece by him called Ballad number 1. And unfortunately, he only seems to have written one. But anyway, this is Ballad number 1, Alfred Kamiyer. Ballad number 1 by Alfred Kamiyer. He wrote a lot of just quiet, beautiful stuff for the Plectrum band that works on the Plectrum banjo. I see these classic pieces as little workshops in technique, or just an idea in how to develop it, and I play them almost exactly as written. I took a little bit of poetic license with some of them in some of the arrangements. I added to them or added chord changes that just seemed to work. Tried not to modernize it, if you want to look at it that way. But anyway, so we get to the part that I've kind of been dreading all this time. Is where I'm headed right now. What I've played for you so far has just been, this is in my past, and it's all gone into what I'm doing right now, leading up to what I'm doing now. This has been my pandemic project. I actually started it before pandemic, but I really put a lot of work into it during pandemic. My goal has always been able to improvise jazz on the Plectrum banjo. Ever since hearing Buddy Walker 33 years ago, just tearing it up, and not just banjo stuff, but jazz guitar stuff, because he's also a fine jazz guitarist. And I wish I could go back 33 years ago with the brain that I have now. And let me tell you that. You don't just start playing that kind of music out of the blue unless you just have this weird gift. There's a myth that jazz musicians are just gifted individuals that, well, that's easy for them. They don't even have to think about it. They just do it. Well, I've worked with a lot of jazz musicians in my life. I was in the Army and in college. A lot of really good jazz musicians. Prerequisite number 1 to get into those places is you have to know all your scales. I did mine on clarinet. That's what my degree is in. You have to know all your scales and have to be able to play prepared, worked up pieces. Those guys, those jazz musicians, maybe none of them are famous, but they're really good jazz musicians, and they got their chops by playing classical music and by reading music and by learning their scales and arpeggios. And sometimes when I do a workshop and I talk about scales, I can see the eyes glaze over and audience, oh no, he's talking about scales. Those dreaded things. Yes, they apply to the banjo. It's a musical instrument. Why not? C scale. How hard is that? It's just a matter. It's a different technique from this and from playing block chords. So anyway, a good friend of mine in California taught me modal scales 20 years ago, and I never really got around to doing much with them until I started working on my books. The first one 10 years ago, and now this one that started 3 years ago. The modes. Quick demonstration. Since I practiced in. Okay. I'm nervous. I shouldn't be. So anyway, just the modal scales and the modal arpeggios are even easier, fortunately. They're used very extensively in jazz musicians' repertoires, but they're also great ways to exercise your fingers and learn to hear proper chord changes and stuff like that. So what a book I've been working on is called A Modal Framework for Jazz for the Plectrum banjo, and I'm hoping to have it done in time for the NAIBC in April. That's my goal right now. I'm working on it every day. Anyway, enough stalling. Try to demonstrate on using the song 5'2", the chord progression of 5'2". This is all pre-learned patterns that I'm about to play here. There's nothing jazz improv about this. It's just pre-learned patterns. The goal is so you get these things into your fingers, and then you learn to relax and let your subconscious take over, and the subconscious will have a framework to draw upon. Again, you don't just start playing jazz improv without having some kind of single string work, some kind of single string skills. All right, so wish me luck. I know pretty much what I'm going to play. In practicing it, I've found, oh, I can do that lick there too. Okay, so we'll see how it works. 5'2". All right, so that shouldn't be so hard for me to do. As I do it in the privacy of my office all the time. You got to hear what I do in private. It's really cool licks and everything, but I'm getting there. And little by little, when I get into jam sessions, I try to throw in licks, during the breaks or something. Just trying to get myself eased into this whole mentality. A lot of people have mentioned the obvious fact that it is very different from chord strumming. So how do you go from chord strumming to single note picking in one smooth motion? Buddy Watcher does it. I mean, and he holds his pick exactly the same way for both of them. Fingers on the head for the single string work, fingers tucked in for the Eddie Peabody type stuff, and the pick stays exactly the same. So what I've been working on. The tritone resolution sequences. For the circle of fifths, you go C7, S7, B flat 7, E flat 7, so on and so forth, all the way around the circle of fifths. So you learn patterns that are based on those chord progressions. Let me give it an easy example. Let's see. Starting with the G7. So G7. C7, S7, B flat 7, E flat 7, A flat 7, so on and so forth all the way around circle. Anyway, so I've got a whole bunch of different patterns that works with, either one measure at a time or two measures of G7, two measures of C7, so on and so forth. And the theory being that you learn those patterns again, and they will inform what you do subconsciously someday. I hope to reach that point someday, to be able to just get in a jam session, just react to other musicians. That's been my dream. Anyway, so I'm working on using that tritone resolution thing. I've also been working on my Peabody strokes, and I've worked up a simple drill with Peabody strokes, like C7, S7, so on and so forth. and circle back to the C7. You can fit that. You can fit just about any skill, any skill into that. For instance, broken chord strokes. Buddy taught me these 30 years ago. I've just been informed my computers on my. Hold on a second. A new laptop is plugged in, but it's saying that I'm not plugged in. So I don't know. I should make it. I should make it to the end here. I'm almost done. Anyway, broken chord strokes. I've always known how to do it, but how do you apply them? Okay, here's a broken chord stroke on a harmonized scale. Cool. But how do you use it? Okay, so here it is, fit into the tritone resolution sequence. All the way back to C7, back to where I started. So what I'm working on now is being able to combine those two exercises. So I go from strumming to picking, from fingers off the head to fingers on the head in one exercise. And I'm convinced that that's how you learn skills that go into the songs that you play. I used to learn songs because of the skills that were in them. Now I'm learning the skills that I'll be able to put into songs. And here's a triplet exercise I do. I've advanced in this last couple of weeks after discovering this. Lots of notes. I want to be able to play lots of notes. You force yourself to play as fast as you can, and then relax, and do it subconsciously. Howard Alden, thank you very much. I'd love to get together and talk to you about this, because Howard and I only live about 3 hours apart now, I think. So I'd love to get together and compare notes, because you are the master. And I'm just learning. I'm just reporting on what I know so far. I'm hoping someday I'll let loose and just let my subconscious take over and play. In the meantime, I've gotten the skills. I'm getting the skills down to do that. So you won't get it without the skills. Any questions? I am running out of time, and I'm apparently running out of battery, so I will just keep going until my computer dies. And this is going to be up on the website for a while, so you can reach me at banjoplayer1@yahoo.com, or just go on my website, banjosnob.com, and I've got all kinds of technique articles in there, and opinion pieces that, sorry, opinions are like armpits. Everybody's got a couple, and most of them stink. So, but I've been learning to talk about what I love, the banjo. All right, I'm going to try to get in a closing piece here before my computer dies, and I'm going to switch back to the classic banjo, because they played a lot of military marches. Marches were very popular at the turn of the century, so a lot of them were written, arranged for the banjo and written. And this is one by Emil Grimshaw that was written for the banjo. It's called "Return of the Regiment." It's my official closing. Return of the Regiment by Emil Grimshaw. And some American audiences will hear that the breakup strain, which is when Johnny comes marching home, say, "Oh, this British composer stole an American song." Well, as it turns out, we stole it from the Irish. It's an old Irish drinking tune, as far as probably most of our songs are anyway, including the national anthem. So, okay, Carrie, how do you approach practice time? It sounds like you are really focused on building technique. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm really focused on building technique. In the early days, when I was learning Dixie Medley and Cat and Dog and all those, I was very focused on the song. So I was looking for the techniques that were embedded in the song. And part of that reason, because I wanted to be able to get on stage by myself. So for a good 20 years, I had maybe a half hour of solos tops that I could play on a show. And fortunately wasn't exactly touring the world and playing a lot of shows, so hopefully nobody noticed that, oh, he's playing the same old thing again. So, but then with the discovery of the classic music, that gave me probably 30 songs I can pull out of a hat and play in a show, so it's really made me relax. So, but still, I was looking for the techniques in the song. So to get back to the question, yes, my practice time is becoming more and more focused on find that. That's why the circle of fifths tritone resolution sequence drill is so important to me, because you can just go around and round and round in circles with it, and it gives you something to focus on. And at the same time, I'm learning to play in every key. I'm learning to play in all 12 keys. Because on the Plectrum, at least, there's no such thing as a hard key. It's only hard because you've never played in D flat. D flat is the same as C. Okay, when you get to open notes, okay. Key of, let's say key of B. That might be a little tougher. Yeah, I don't know what to do with the open strings down here. So there are limitations, but you should learn to play in every key, even the hard keys, and you'll find that they're all easy keys. Did that answer the question pretty well, Carrie? By the way, Carrie, I love what you're doing on tenor banjo. You've been putting out some good stuff there. I am going to, I hope to do a tenor adaptation of this book once I get it out. I have a tenor student in Australia that really keeps me hopping with his questions, trying to figure out how to play what I've been doing on the Plectrum, show them on the tenor as well. The tenor is, of course, okay, let me clear up. Here's opinion for you. The Plectrum banjo is a better scale instrument than the tenor. There you have it. The Plectrum is a more versatile scale instrument. I can play scales in many different ways, easily up and down the fretboard. Or on the tenor banjo, sure, I can play a C scale. I can even play a G scale. I can play a D scale. Okay, C sharp. All of a sudden, I'm having to jump all over the place, especially when I get up into here, having to jump all over the place, where on the Plectrum, they're just right there. The guitar, of course, is even better at that, but the Plectrum is really good with just different variations of the scale. So it's been difficult for me to convert from Plectrum to tenor. What the tenor does really well, much better than the Plectrum, is arpeggios. I can play a complete extended modal arpeggio with the tenor easily. That's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, back to 1 of a C Ionian. I can do extended D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian. Remember which banjo I'm playing here. A G mixed Lydian, A Aeolian, B Locrian, and back to C Ionian. So the tenor is very good at arpeggios, and I'm finding some patterns like a. Okay, I think I'm about to run out of battery, so I apologize for that. Please contact me at any time at banjoplayer1@yahoo.com. In fact, let me write that down before I lose power. I apologize for the power situation. I must have a bad... I think I'm gone. I can't even leave a comment. Anyway, if anybody wants to get together with me, please Skype, Zoom, whichever. Just email me with questions. I love to help. It helps me by learning to explain how to explain to others. Is how I've learned how to do this stuff. So anyway, bye. Thanks for listening in. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.